Hi everybody, and welcome back to the 2-Acre Homestead. My name is Lisa, in case we have not met. Well, hi Junior. As you can see behind me, I have my goat Buttercup on a little bit of an assignment. She's doing some weeding for me, and she's brought along with her this little guy, and this little guy, his name is Junior. So 2 weeks as of the recording of this video, our dairy goat, or one of our goats, kitted in the middle of all of this heat. And we're super excited. She had 2 bucklings. And so today I wanted to talk to you guys about some of our future plans and what we're planning to do with our dairy goat situation, and also I'm so sorry, excuse me, and also so what we plan on doing in the future, and also what happened to the second buckling that she had. But in the meantime, in between time, let me get in some better lighting, because the lighting is not so good here at this direction, but I definitely wanted you guys to see what Buttercup is up to. So Buttercup, her kidding was just absolute perfection. We kind of could tell just based on how her Mama doesn't want him to get in trouble, so she's kind of yelling at him. We kind of knew the pregnancy was imminent, but we didn't know the exact day and time. Hey, Mama. I had to come inside to do this video because Buttercup and our little buckling are just so distracting to me. I can't keep my eyes off of them and on the camera. So thought I would take some time out from doing a cooking video to letting you guys know what has happened here in our homestead. So almost 2 weeks ago, our doe, Buttercup, kidded or gave birth to 2 bucklings. The birth itself was almost textbook. We knew based on feeling her ligaments, we knew that, it was imminent, it was close. And so we were kind of on baby watch with her. And then finally, we came out just to do just a quick check on her, and she was already starting to push. So, we got her into the birthing stall, and she did beautifully on the first one. The second one was a little bit more complicated, and if you want details on what happened on the second birth, we'll be talking about that on our podcast. So go ahead and listen on our podcast, anywhere you get your podcast. The second one, the birth went okay. And then she had these 2 bucklings. And so we named the first one Junior, who you just saw. And the second one was named, I thought it was Spot, but the kids said, or my husband said, no, it's Spark. So we named him Spark. And everything was going fine. That was on a Saturday. So then Sunday rolls around, and just doing a wellness check on Mama, making sure she's okay, making sure her udders are okay. Everything was fine, We did have some difficulty with the firstborn, which was Junior, because he didn't get on the teat right away. And so he was kind of weak. We weren't sure he was going to make it. That's how weak he was. We were really nervous, and he wasn't taking to the teat. The concept of the teat was just really hard for him to get. The second one, Spark, it just seemed like as soon as he was born, he was on the teat, He favored the left teat. Junior favored the right teat. Sunday comes, and Sunday did a health and wellness check on Mama. Everything was okay with Mama. Definitely honed in and focused on the kids. And like I said, Junior was still weak. Spark was bouncing here, there, and everywhere. He was totally fine. Monday comes, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to get Mama on the stanchion and start milking her. So I get her on the stanchion, which, that was an ordeal, because she was still pretty heavy and pretty sore from the birth. But I got her on the stanchion, and I start milking her, and on her left teat, the milk was more like a consistency of yogurt. And when I felt the udder, it was really hot and heavy. I immediately rushed into the house. I knew what I was dealing with immediately. That was mastitis. Contacted the vet. The vet came out, put her on medication. Okay. So we'll leave that situation where it is. But if you remember, I said Junior favored the right teat, Spark favored the left teat. So while I was waiting for the vet to come, that was later in the day that he came. I think it was more towards the evening. And what I wound up doing is I wound up taping up that left teat. And then I wound up bottle feeding Spark. So I started bottle feeding him because he was not allowed to get on that right teat. Junior wasn't going to let it happen. And it is what it is with animals. That's just how they are. So I started bottle feeding, and the bottle feeding was going well, I thought. And so this is now going into Wednesday. Actually, I'm sorry, it was Thursday morning. We went to do animal chores first thing in the morning. I opened up the kidding stall and Spark wasn't getting up. Wednesday night, let me just back up a little bit. Wednesday night, I noticed he didn't want to drink as much. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Let him self-regulate. He didn't want to drink as much, and that was totally fine. And he didn't seem his self on Wednesday. But, you know, we just kind of let it be and just kind of watched him. By Thursday morning, when we woke up to do animal chores, he was not getting up at all. As a matter of fact, I kind of had to, he was sitting right in front of the door and I kind of had to push him a little bit just to get in. He was not responsive. And of course that day it had to be 108 degrees. It's never this hot here in this area. And of course it had to be one of the hottest days, right? So I decided to take him inside so that way he's not battling whatever he was trying to battle, plus the heat on top of it. So I took him inside and I put him in our garden tub. And he just seemed to be going downhill rapidly. And so I called the vet. And while I was waiting for the vet, we were the last patient that day for the vet on that Thursday. So he didn't come out until like 7. And this started early in the morning, right? So I had all day to try to figure out what is going on with this little guy. And that's what I did. And I started to figure out that it was floppy kid syndrome because his temperature was 100.4. So, you know, and if you know anything about floppy kid syndrome, it was a toss-up. It could be floppy kid syndrome or it could be an infection. And his temperature was on the lower side. So I decided I just had to make that judgment call that it was floppy kid. So I stopped feeding him. I would not give him any milk at all. And I started giving him baking soda. Literally, I could hear when I gave him, it was just 1 teaspoon of baking soda mixed with water. I could literally hear his stomach gurgle when I did that. And I was like, okay, this is probably a good thing. He seemed to bounce back a little bit, like that was good for him. And I thought, okay, I think I got this. You know, that's what it is. Didn't feed him because I wanted to wait 24 hours. Plus I wanted to wait for the vet. The vet comes, and he was unsure too, because he said it could be floppy kid or it could be botulism because of the way he was acting. He couldn't hold his head. His neck was like crooked this way. It was just painful to see. He was completely paralyzed. But my vet had said he didn't have a temperature. Everything else, you know, his heart sounded good. His digestion sounded good. Everything sounded good, but he was paralyzed. And really he was. I mean, he couldn't stand. He couldn't, you try to hold his head and it would just flop everywhere. He was just a limp mess. And so the next day we decided, you know, okay, it's been more than 24 hours. We went with the floppy kid syndrome and it had been more than 24 hours. So we decided it's time to start feeding him. So I started feeding him 10 milliliters of milk. That's it. And at first that seemed to be good. He seemed to respond to that. And so that was great. He seemed to perk up a little bit with that. Because both myself and the vet, we were both concerned about the fact that it felt like he wasn't getting the nutrition that he needed, probably because of the teat. And now we're starting to wonder if I saw him on the teat when he was first born, but now we're starting to wonder if he got all the colostrum that he needed. We're not sure. Sorry, coffee break. So, whatever it was, after the second feeding, he went downhill. I mean, just downhill. And I mean, incredibly fast and hard. So much so to the point that my husband and I decided, by the time Saturday came along, we decided to go ahead and put him down. We felt that he had reached a point of no return, that he would never recover from it. The vet seems to think that it could have been a combination of the lack of nutrition because of favoring that left teat. It could have been that. He could have picked something up from the teat having mastitis. That's more than likely what happened. He could have had something like that. I don't know. We really honestly don't know. We're not even 1,000% sure that it was floppy goat syndrome, to be honest with you. But whatever the case, he went down so fast. It just was heartbreaking. So that is what happened on that. And it was very heartbreaking. Now, going back to Buttercup, our pregnant doe, or our doe that just kidded. So the mastitis has cleared up. I have since milked her. The milk is good. The vet has also milked her. He's confirmed the milk is good. Her temperature is down. She's back to normal. Her udders actually look normal. He seems to think that we got it at the right time. We caught her at the right time. So she might always have a problem with that left teat. So it becomes a question of, do we incorporate her in our breeding program? And we'll have to see, because she'll always have problems with that left udder. And so we'll see. We'll see how she does. But for the here and now, she's doing really well. She's fully recovered. I don't feel anything. I just felt her this morning, and I don't feel anything in the udder anymore. So she may have a little bit of scar tissue, but it's not noticeable to these untrained hands. I can't feel anything in there, so we may have caught it just in time, just like the vet said. So, but she's doing fantastic. The baby is doing really good, as you guys saw. So we definitely are keeping Junior. He is going to be a permanent resident here on this homestead. So we're super excited about that. And we're excited that it's a buck. We're excited that he's doing fantastic and he's doing well. So hopefully things will continue to progress for him. Well, that is it from all of us here at our homestead. So from all of us to all of you, wherever you are, happy homesteading and be safe out there.